Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Hsieh, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat like change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Hi everyone, welcome to this month's public webinar that we're doing here at Toy Launch. This month's particular topic will be discussing about gamification in marketing, especially within the toys and game industry, on how do you currently turn play into profit for you and your business. Webinar goal is very simple. It's first, what exactly is gamification in marketing? I want to kind of explain how the game mechanism really work and can increase your engagement, conversion, and also retention for you and your business. And then I'm going to share some real case study about how businesses, small and large, that is currently applying the gamification process across their marketing channel in social media, in emails, in websites, in ads. And then I also kind of talk about different concept about how can you turn engagement into real revenue and some of the real cases that you can apply to your business today. So, and at the end, if you have any question, feel free to comment in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on LinkedIn, you can also comment in the link in our LinkedIn channel as well. But I would like to make sure we also have some question for Q&A if there is some Q&A at the end of the webinar. Today's agenda is we're going to talk about the definition of gamification first. Why does it work in marketing? And also different strategy you can apply. And also share some of the different tool you can also consider applying gamification strategy into your overall marketing strategy for your businesses going forward. And also some action plan and some key takeaway that you can implement today as soon as you finish attending the webinar. So before we get started, for those of you that haven't heard about me and Toy Launch yet, again, my name is Hsieh, and how it all started for me was back in 2013. My son was diagnosed with autism and ADHD while we were living in Japan back then. My wife is Japanese and Taiwanese, so I do speak Chinese and Japanese fluently. English is my third language, so forgive me for my Asian accent because couldn't quite get rid of my Asian accent, I guess. But we run into the problem when we used to live in Japan, which is Japan as a society is hyper conservative, especially when it comes to helping kids with special needs, like invisible disability, like autism. So we struggle to find help and support in Japan. The situation was so bad, even though we live in Tokyo, we can only find 2 therapy centers to take our son to in the entire Tokyo metropolitan area back in 2013. So in 2015, we decided to move to the United States to find better resources and therapy opportunity for my son. Only to find out, for those of you that's currently living in the United States, how horrible the medical insurance system is in US. It doesn't cover any of the therapy that we needed for our son. And that was the reason why I decided to start working on some of my hobby business toward the end of 2016. Then 2017, that's when my toy company, Lucky Kid, was officially born. The mission of my own toy company was to design toys that can help other kids like my son that also have sensory needs like autism, ADHD, or other sensory issues. So that started my 10-year journey in the industry from the end of 2016 to now, 2026. I've been working in the toys and game industry ever since I started my journey. So, and also over the years, one thing I really enjoyed doing for my own toy company was digital marketing. So I decided starting to do some digital marketing for other people that I met in the toys and game industry. It kind of just started up like as another part-time project, but it turned into a whole business by itself. In early 2022, I decided to start the second company, which is Toy Launch, which is our digital marketing company that we specialize in doing digital marketing for other toys and game brands. And we also started a foundation called Sensory Inclusive Classroom Foundation, which is a 501c nonprofit, which we donate some of our toys and games to local school and local communities to help kids with special needs as well. And I also run a local e-commerce connectors group called Phoenix Online Seller. It's a local meetup group where we also meet once a month to talk about digital marketing and online marketing for e-commerce businesses. So again, I also run a small podcast called Toy Business Unboxed, which I interview toys and game founders within the industry. And I'm proud to say we already have interviewed over 190 businesses within the toys and game industry since we started the podcast 2.5 years ago. So back to today's conversation. Before we talk about gamification in marketing, there's a few key concepts I recommend all the business owner or business like marketing professional to really think about before you implement any kind of gamification strategy. There's 3 major principles that you want to kind of make sure your business is really, really solid on. First is you want to make sure your website or wherever you're driving the traffic to is well optimized. Conversion optimization is going to be a key. It doesn't matter what kind of marketing you do for you and your business. If your page or your website is not well designed, like it's not converting the customer into people that's opting into your newsletter or opting in and buying your product, you need to fix that first. So that's the first step before you start like implementing some of the gamification strategy we'll be talking about today. Second is profit optimization. You need to know your numbers. Some of the gamification strategy I'm going to be sharing today, it doesn't cost that much to run, but you still need to understand your number, your like unit economy, so to speak. What is your average order value? What is your lifetime value? What is your cost per acquisition, especially when you're running digital advertising campaign? You need to know the numbers to make sure whatever the marketing you decide to do will be profitable at the end, because you're going to put a lot of time, effort, and energy into your campaign to make sure you can generate more revenue for you and your business. So definitely keep that in mind when you're kind of going through today's webinar's content. Last but not least, ongoing optimization. Digital marketing is not set and forget. It's you do it once, then you test it over and over and over again. Depends on the data you're receiving, and you can always make your next marketing campaign better than the last one if you know what to look out for and what to measure in your digital marketing effort. So very, very important for digital marketing, obviously. So first, what is gamification? So gamification, like the definition itself, is to apply game mechanism like points, rewards, or challenges like outside of the traditional game by transferring like audience into active participants. And I'm going to share a lot of case study and a lot of different ways that businesses currently using it today. Actually, a lot of big companies using it everywhere, especially the social media company that me and everyone that's watching today's webinar might be using. Facebook use a lot of gamification in their like interface. Same as Instagram, same as TikTok, all the big players trying to make sure people get kind of addicted to the platform so they will come back to the platform. So, but for the toys and game businesses, you want to think about how can you also create or design experiences that can engage with your customer so they are willing to come back and purchase more of your product through your brand. So that is all something you can think about. I'm kind of sharing some of the case study today is how can you make the buyer experience more interesting or more fun while they are like doing shopping. So they kind of treat the shopping experience with your website, or if you run retail store, like how can you make the retail store experiences a lot more interesting when the people come to your store? So first of all, why does it work? Obviously, we are like marketing to other human beings. So the gamification work extremely well because it really tap into the human psychology, reward, competitions, achievement. This is all we are looking for. For me, myself, I'm hyper competitive. If I'm going to do something, I want to win. If, for example, I play a lot of pickleball. So like pickleball is about like, you want to keep track of the score. If you don't keep track of the score, it doesn't make it it's not very fun if you're just playing it mindlessly. But that also applies to digital marketing. When you are doing digital marketing campaign for you and your brand, how can you kind of design your marketing campaign so there's a competition or competitive aspect to it? So people like they are competing with other people. Like creating a leaderboard is a perfect example of how to do this as well. And second reason why gamification really worked really well is you increase the time and then the attention of your potential customer that's going to spend time with your website, with your email, with your social media channel, because you just make it a little bit more engaging instead of Otherwise, people will just be mindless doom scrolling on their Instagram feed, and they never stop and even care about your content or your businesses. If you don't give them a reason to stop and care about the content you're creating. The third reason why it worked extremely well is it also encourage repeat buying behavior, because progress tracking and reward really encourage customer to return again and then again. So that's the third reason. The fourth reason is you just make the whole buying experience a lot more fun. You're transferring shopping from a task into a entertainment. And some company that I'll be sharing today did this extremely well in their marketing campaign as well. So on the key thing is you want to understand the psychology and the behavioral foundation behind the concept and what made gamification so effective in marketing. So the number one example I'm going to share first is Pokémon. Pokemon trading card game is like huge in the toys and game industry. Obviously, it's almost an industry in itself because there is Pokemon trading card conferences. There's like Pokemon trading card event. There's also Pokemon competition as well, like the actual tournament that people is actually doing, like to kind of engage and trade the Pokemon cards. And I think they did this really, really well. Obviously, Pokemon, the brand itself, have so much like brand awareness as well. But one thing they really capture really well is really on the scarcity aspect and also the collectability aspect of the Pokemon trading card game, because sometimes people will wait in line to buy like Pokemon pack, which is really just a whole bunch of paper if you really think about it. But people are paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for this super rare Pokemon card because of the rarity and also the gamification they kind of infuse into the whole marketing strategy, which they have done extremely well for themselves because of all the different gamification aspect of it, because the trading card game is also a game, obviously. So this is a really, really good example of how this strategy is currently being implemented by the Pokemon companies. And this is one of the case study I also want to share in today's webinar. For those of you that's thinking about implementing gamification concept for your businesses, this is a really, really good like case study of, okay, this is how Pokemon did it. How can I do it for my own brand or my own product as well? Maybe I have some like limited edition games or limited edition toys that you want to develop for your product line that you can make it. Actually, a lot of the Kickstarter campaign I have participated in past. Some Kickstarter campaign also does this, especially in the tabletop community. They will create like a limited edition version that only the Kickstarter backer will have access to. Means if you don't back the campaign right now, you will never get this limited edition ever again, because this is only available for the first 100 backer, for example. So that is a way that you can also consider using the same similar strategy for your own digital marketing strategy. Let's just say if you're running an upcoming Kickstarter campaign, that's a really easy way to implement that into your kind of overall marketing strategy as well. Next, I want to kind of explain some core gamification element that you can consider if you want to embed gamification into your marketing for your toys or game brands. First is you want to design a point system. How can you reward user action with point to encourage repeat engagement? There's different software you can do it, or if you want to keep things simple, you can also just like put it in your description. For example, if you are doing any kind of social media campaign, you can just say, oh, you get one entry if you click the share. If you like, you get one more entrance. If you also like comment on it, you get one more entrance for the giveaway. Like then you just manually track the user actions. Or if you want to go really fancy, there's third-party software you can also use to track all the social media engagement matrix and actually will create a leaderboard for you as well. So there's many different ways to do it, but definitely coming up with a point system is going to be one of the core elements that you want to consider. Second is you want to offer some kind of meaningful incentive to motivate the participation. So one of the easiest way to do that is to do giveaway. You can do like quarterly giveaway, monthly giveaway of one of your product potentially. If people engage, or they maybe will be recording videos about different things for their brands. And that's a lot of different ideas that you can also think about. Brian, I see you have a question. Yeah, you can go ahead and ask.
I do. Thank you. I love your ideas. I'm just not sure how to implement them. So with the point systems, I know that's a wonderful idea, but how do we keep track of their points? Is that something we could build How do we do that?
Yeah, so there's third-party software. I can also send you some like a real-life example of different software that can do that. For example, one we have used in the past is called Gleam.io, Gleam.io. That's like a social media marketing software. You actually track those behaviors as well. But besides Gleam, there's a lot of other software you can use, which is like a third-party software. You can sync with your social media or with other platform you are currently using, and you will actually keep track of the user engagement if you don't want to track it manually yourself.
Okay, that's really good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Very good question. So yeah. And then obviously there's a point system. There's also meaningful reward you can give out in the giveaway. And also you can also create challenges. This is another way, as you see over the years, there's a lot of social media challenges that go viral. So how can you create your own social media challenges that can potentially go viral? That's related to the brand or the topic or the theme of your games. So really, I just want to encourage everyone who's watching this webinar live or in the recording to think outside of the box a little bit, because sometimes we're just in our own little bubble. But there's a lot of different ways that you can create different challenges that will be relevant for your brand. You just need to be a little bit creative about how can you kind of create goal and tasks that you can drive user behavior toward, like maybe doing more social media actions or signing up for your newsletter. Or there's a lot of different like user behavior that you want to encourage your audience to do over time as well. Then obviously creating a leaderboard will be a way to foster healthy competition to boost engagement and also help with your retention rate of the customer that you're talking to, which is all very, very important, obviously. And then also keep track of the progress. You can use different software to keep track of the progress of your social media campaign to maintain like motivation and also momentum for you and your potential customers. The next case study I want to share is Uno, because everyone know Uno, like everyone, at least in the United States, play Uno. I have a few Uno at home. So why is Uno so popular? It's because it's super simple. People can pick it up in 30 seconds or less. It doesn't require rocket science to know how to play Uno. So this also applies to gamification, because the simpler your rule, the better you're going to do. If it's going to take people on social media like 10 minutes to understand your rule for your like competition, people are probably not going to participate. It's just a little bit too complicated. So again, make it super simple. It could be just as simple as like and share, then you get more entries. Like some very, very simple action as your like the main actions. The simpler your rule is for your gamification strategy, the better outcome you will have. Because especially for social media marketing, because it's very fast paced, people have very, very short attention span. So the simpler your rule is, the better you will have in the result. And you also will create a lot more social interactions. And Uno is a perfect example of this because the game is so simple. So obviously, it's also like one of the most well-known game, at least in US right now as well. Next is I want to kind of talk about different gamification strategy for social media, which is a big platform for a lot of the business owner I'm talking to, and also a platform a lot of us struggle with because social media can be overwhelming for a business owner. One thing I also struggle with myself is like, I'm just not consistent. Sometimes I post 3 a week, sometimes I post once a week, sometimes I forgot to post altogether. So consistency is going to be one of the key things before you think about strategy, because without consistency, it's really hard to scale. And personally, I also struggle with this myself a little bit. I'm creating constant content. Like I always want to create more YouTube video for my YouTube channel, but I just forgot about it, or I got busy with other business stuff, and like creating YouTube video become like a low priority for me. So I never created it. So that's something you want to think about before you really dive into social media strategy is how much time are you willing to set aside every single week, maybe just an hour or maybe 30 minutes to create content for your social media channel. Then you can use the power of AI to turn one content into 20 content. Because there's so many different tools you can use nowadays to turn one YouTube video to 10 different mini video, a blog post, a newsletter, a social media post. There's so many different tools, but you still need to create the content initially, obviously. Then you can kind of create a lot of different content from one like master content. But that's definitely one thing that I want to remind the business owner that's watching today to think about. But for gamification, there's a lot of different ways for social media, because social media itself is a gamification platform. People are like addicted to social media because for them, it's like a game. All the big companies, they spend millions of dollars on designing the interface, designing so people feel like, oh, they want to see the they want to just hit refresh and see the latest like a trending cat meme on the internet. It's all designed to be like almost addictive in a way. But for us as a business owner is how do we also capitalize on this like channel for us, for our businesses? So one way to do that, I already shared a little bit earlier, is to run interactive contests like giveaway. You can run like comment to win or like use a hashtag to win. There's a lot of very easy campaign you can do to boost your reach and engagement organically. Second is you can run challenges like I shared earlier. There's a lot of TikTok challenges people do nowadays. There's some Instagram challenges that you can do nowadays. The whole idea is how can you create branded challenges that encourage participation and also potentially can have a lot of viral sharing moment across platform if you kind of design the challenges correctly. And then you can also run polls or quizzes through your social media to get to know your audience a little bit better. The other way you can use it for those of you who have physical product is to run UGC contests. For example, what UGC is just user-generated content. For example, if one of your one of your customer buy your product, you can encourage them, say, can you record a 30-second video sharing your experience using one of our games or toys? Then if they post it on their social media and tag you, they get like a discount code or they get a coupon or some kind of incentive. Because UGC is super powerful for social media marketing. Social media nowadays with so many AI generated content, the more authentic you can have for your content is still do much better than when the content is fully AI generated. Because people can still tell like, oh, this video feel kind of awkward. It must be AI. It's not like authentic. It's not an actual human creating the video. So in order to bypass that, the best way is to enroll your current active customer, create more user-generated content for you and your brand. So that's another very easy way to gather more content. So the social media flywheel can kind of compound onto yourself because you can collect more social media feedback, collect more videos, then you can reshare some of those videos through your own social media channel as well. So those are some of the very easy things that you can implement already into your business this week. Next is I want to share some of the case study with Lego because Lego does this extremely well with their community engagement. As we all know, there's a lot of Lego superfan. They will have Lego conferences, Lego meetup event, Lego competition, Lego everything pretty much. So Lego really transformed a lot of their passive customer into like super fan by turning them into active brand participant. They do a lot of creative like building contests as well on social media. Like for example, Lego fan can submit their own Lego creation and then Lego have a scoring system and then their team is going to review all the fan creation and decide on which fan creation they want to turn it into an actual Lego model. So that is a great way that combine gamification with community engagement because they are turning the idea from the fan into real product. So how can you do that for your brand? That's something to think about as well. How can you take some of the idea, like the mega corporation like Lego is doing with their community, but how can you create a version for your own toys and game brands? A lot of the board game companies I talk to myself, sometimes they also try to create their own mini communities as well. So the community can kind of talk to each other. They can have their own tournaments. And this is how you can really build like a strong community inside your brand by having your own communities as well. And you can also very easily get feedback that way because a lot of people will do it on Discord as well. You can have your own Discord channel or whatever other channel you want to use to kind of hold your community together. But obviously community management could be also very time consuming. But if you build it correctly, it might be worth your time and investment into building a community around your product and around your brand. Next, I want to talk about gamification for email and SMS marketing. Email and SMS is still the easiest way to get hold of your customer as of today, because the typical open rate for email right now in 2026 is about 20%. SMS open rate is 90%, means almost everyone open their text messages. But in order for you to get their email or their phone number, you need to give them some kind of incentive. So the easiest way for those of you who have a website is to implement a very easy plugin. There's a lot of free tool you can install in your website. Depends on, are you using Shopify or WordPress or WooCommerce? You can install what is called a spin the wheel opt-in offer. It's very simple. It's just, okay, it's a wheel that actually spin. And in order for people to play, they just enter their email. then they can spin the wheel one time. So super simple to implement, but just very fun. It's okay, I'll just give you my email. Let me spin the wheel and see what I get. So very easy way to gamify your entire website and also gather email and SMS information at the same time by incorporating that into your website design. I mean, with all the tool nowadays, pretty easy to implement into your own website. Second way you can consider is to create like interactive email quizzes as well. In your email, you can just send out quizzes for people to do. It's like, this is a free quiz to learn about your personality. You want to design a quiz that match your brand's voices, obviously. Or a lot of the e-commerce website also do this, is to have like a VIP reward system. So the more unit or the more product they bought, they have more points. So then if they have 100 points or 200 points, they get $5 discount. They get special coupon code, or they get some kind of special incentive. So that's all the thing that you can bake in to your website, and or also bake into the way you are engaging with your audience over time as well. Then you can also do any kind of limited time challenges with your audience through using emails and SMS campaign to really combine the gamification process with urgency. Because if you have some urgency or some scarcity, that's where people will really buy it. You can also structure it and say, okay, we are doing a 30-day challenges, which is free to participate. Then this is all the price. But then at the end of the challenge, you can send out all the participants that doesn't win, and just say, sorry, thank you for participating. Sorry you didn't win, but here is a $5 coupon to buy anything on our website. So instantly you can get some sales by turning the campaign. So everyone win. Even the losers still win by getting a coupon. Even if they didn't win the giveaway, but they get a $5 coupon code for one of your products. So that's another easy way to kind of incorporate into your digital marketing strategy as well. The next example I want to share, again, is Lego again, because Lego did a lot of the gamification so well. They have a really, really good VIP reward program. For those of you that also own a toy and game company, I would recommend to check it out and steal some of the idea from Lego. Obviously, you don't want to steal it exactly as how Lego does it, but you can just take a look at how Lego does their VIP program. What kind of tier do they have? What kind of incentive do they give? And how do they really incentivize people to go back to their website? Then think about how can you incorporate it for your own brand, because Lego does this extremely well. So this is a really, really good case study to look into and see how you can incorporate it to your brand. So every single purchase will earn points, and in return, you can turn the buying experience into a progress system. It's not just a one-time transactions. They will come back and buy more and more and more from your brand over time as well. So definitely a very good example to look at. It's called Lego Insiders. That's their whole VIP program. Next, gamification for website and landing pages. I kind of touched on it a little bit when I talk about email strategy, because some of the email strategy also tie into your website design. Like if you have a spin the wheel pop-up that I mentioned earlier, or it could be any kind of other engagement that you can include your website to make it more engaging by people scrolling or visiting some of your different pages. And also you can create a gamified onboarding. For example, in your welcome email, when they first buy a product or sign up for your newsletter, you can design your entire onboarding or welcome sequences to make it a little bit more fun, or just make it a little bit of humor, add a little bit of humor into it. And also talk about your reward program in your welcome email sequences as well. So you can kind of embed your entire marketing for your email to your website, and you tie everything together into its own gamification kind of journey for you and your customer as well. Again, I kind of briefly touched on this, but this is a example of what it looked like in real life. It's a spin to win wheel that you can implement as a website pop-up that can really transform a standard discount offer into an interactive gaming experience. This is widely used by a lot of e-commerce companies to convert some of the passive people that just scrolling on the website, but they didn't do anything. They are just kind of window shopping on your website. How can you turn those passive window shoppers into real email subscriber? That's one thing you can consider. Brian, do you have another questions?
I do. I had a question about the last thing you mentioned about tracking, giving points for purchases. Is there another third-party app that will track that?
Yes, there's a lot of third-party apps that can also do that. Is your website currently on Shopify, or what do you use?
I think it's on Shopify, but based on WordPress, I think.
If it's already on Shopify, there's a lot of Shopify plugin you can look into. The one we have tried in the past is called Smile. That's like a Shopify app that you can download. You will actually create this kind of reward system or VIP program. You will also track people's purchases. You can give them points and you will send out emails based on the points and all that. There's a lot of apps that you can download in your Shopify store that can just do it for you. So
And the other question I have about the spin to win, I get that on like almost every time I go to a website. I do get one of the spin to win. And then in the teeny tiny small print under the small print, it says everyone gets the discount anyway. So, I mean, is this legit? And does everyone get the maximum discount? Or do they really get the discount on the wheel?
It's something you can customize in the software. You can actually change the percentage of the chances of their winning. You can change it to 1%, 5%, 10%. That's customizable on the back end.
I
with
love
most of the
this.
software you use. So if you want to give out more prices, you can increase the percentage. If you don't want to give out too much prices, you can also decrease the winning percentage. Just like you're running a casino, like the casino can change the winning percentage too with their slot machine. Same idea. So
Okay, well, thank you, Jason.
yeah, but this could be a very easy way to kind of implement because there's a lot of different spring to win like pop-up you can implement. If you're already on Shopify, there's a lot of free or pay tool that you can also use to implement it for your website as well. So, but the whole idea is to really transform the passive people. Like at least you want to get their email. Otherwise, there's no way for you to follow up with them. They're just lost into the internet ether somewhere. And they couldn't really follow up with them ever again. Even so, they might show interest in your product at one point. So you just want to capture them before they leave, pretty much. That's the whole idea behind like the pop-up. So you can try to capture their information and hopefully ask them to come back again in the future. So next is gamification in advertising. So I know there's a lot of different advertising platforms that each of us is advertising on as a toys and game brands owners. One thing you want to think about is the best type of ads you can run right now in digital marketing. You want to make your ad doesn't look like an ad, doesn't smell like an ad, and doesn't taste like the ad. What I mean by that is you want to make your ad as authentic as possible. And this is where the user-generated content can play into this strategy, because if the ads you're using is just a customer video testimonial and you turn that into the ads, people don't feel like they're watching an ad. They just feel like, oh, this is my neighbor or my friend sharing one of the game they tried with their family. That is the impression you want to give people when you're running ads nowadays. Because otherwise, people have this like filter because they are so used to watching ads anyway. They'll just automatically shut off all the ads. It's like, oh, this is ad. Ignore, and they just move on. They won't even stop their scroll at all. So you want to really use authentic content from your customer. Those are the type of format that usually will work the best for digital marketing when you reuse some of the content directly from your customer. So definitely something to think about. And there's also some people does this extremely well without using user-generated content. I think there was a famous advertising company. They do a lot of like very funny ads. It's almost like a joke. Like they're watching like a comedy almost in the ad itself. That's another way to do it, but it require a little bit higher budget because now you need actor, script, you need to like make the whole thing kind of funny. And there's a lot of big companies that also try that approach with their advertising to make it kind of like gamification because they just make it kind of fun. And the people that's watching the ad doesn't feel like they're watching an ad. They feel like they're watching like a comedy skit or something like that. So something to think about as well. But the easiest way for smaller companies that doesn't have the budget to design like a really, really well thought out design campaign is to just use your user-generated content from your existing customer. That's usually the easiest way and the most cost-effective way to get it started as well. And obviously, you want to do a lot of A/B testing to see what kind of format is going to work, what kind of format is not going to work. And the nice thing with the social media advertising platform nowadays is actually really easy to set up A/B testing nowadays with your platform. You just need to have a lot of different variation. Maybe you get 3 or 5 different video from 5 different customers. Then you just set it up in your Meta ad console and have 5 ads running side by side and just see which one is going to work the best. So that's pretty easy to set up. But again, you want to have multiple different variation. The more testing you can do in your advertising, the better the result that you're going to get over time as well. So that's some different example. One of the real live case study that I want to share in gamification when it comes to advertising is you can do holiday giveaway or any kind of giveaway. Giveaway is a very easy way to do in digital marketing strategy to turn advertising into an interactive experience. The user don't just want to see the ad, they can also participate in the ads by completing different action. For example, in this particular example, this is a campaign we have done in the past that usually we do it during the holiday season. We do a holiday play giveaway. The idea of the holiday play giveaway is very simple. We reach out to other toys and game companies and we do a partner campaign. So each of us maybe like give away one product. So if you have 10 company participate, now you have a grand prize of 10 different products. So the prize pool is a lot bigger. So, and everyone win because everyone pitch in a little bit of product. Then you share the list at the end of the campaign. So all the participating company win, and each of the participating company is also required to share this giveaway on their own channel, on their own social media channel, on their email channel, on all their channel they own. So now instead of you doing it, do all the marketing yourself, all 10 companies doing it together, then everyone benefit. It become a win-win because I believe all of us in the industry, we're not competing against each other. We all have very different and very unique toys and game product. Most of the times we're not direct competitors anyway. So how can we just help each other in the industry? This is the best way to help each other inside the same industry. So everyone win. Everyone just kind of pitch in one or two products. Then we create this giant giveaway that we can present to our customer together. And then you can also run ads together. Each company usually will ask each company to pitch in at least $500 for the campaign. With 10 companies, we have $5,000 of ad budget that we can run ads. Then our team will usually facilitate all that. Then we'll just share the list at the end of the campaign. So that's a very creative way that you can also think about to not just make your entire digital marketing entertaining, but also it's all like a joint venture at the same time because you're reaching out to other companies to kind of all participate together so everyone win. So this is a real life example that we usually do as well during the holiday season. Go ahead, questions, Brian.
Is there an app is there a third-party app to help for that?
This one, we don't use the app. Actually, we do this in-house. So we just reach out to the toys and game companies. Then you don't really need an app for this because if you know how to design a landing page, you just need to design a mini landing page on your website. And then you drive ad to this landing page. You don't really need an app for it. It's pretty simple to set up if you know some basic web design because it's just one page. On the page, you just say, okay, this is a holiday giveaway. This is how to enter the win. And then have a button for people to click on to enter it with their email. That's it. So very simple to set up. Then you just repost this link on your social media, and you can also post it in your email broadcast, and you can post it everywhere very simply as well. You just need one page that go on your website.
Thank you.
No problem. The next is e-commerce gamification itself. So inside your checkout or your shopping experience, there's also a different way you can upgrade or optimize your game buyer journey in your e-commerce website. For example, you can do limited time promotion. You can encourage people to finish the checkout. You can do like a timer. Some people will do like, you have a 10-minute countdown. It's like, 10 minutes before this item will left on your cart for like something like that. Because then it's kind of like a game. Oh, I need to finish my shopping session because it's going to expire in like 10 minutes. And a lot of other e-commerce company will also do this. It's like, we are only saving your item for 10 minutes. And then you show your countdown timer. So people will want to complete their purchases because they feel like a sense of urgency to complete all that. And also you can design in your checkout process. For those of you using Shopify, there's also different actually app or software. You can include your loyalty program into the checkout process. For example, they add $100 worth of product. In your checkout, you'll show them, by the way, now if you finish this purchase, you'll get 100 points. So you'll tie this to your loyalty program in the checkout process to increase your conversion rate because people can know, now I get more points if I finish a purchase. Let me finish the purchase instead of walking away and doing something else. So that's a lot of different ways you can incorporate your like gamification program or your VIP program or your royalty program, however you want to call it, into your current checkout experiences. So people know, first of all, you want people to know you have a reward program. The most common mistake I see is people spend all this time building up loyalty program, VIP program, but no one know about it. It's because you didn't market to the people. So people didn't even know you have a loyalty program. So that's a very common mistake. Make sure people know about your loyalty program in the email, in the website, in the checkout page, everywhere. In your entire buyer journey, people should know you have a real loyalty program everywhere in the process. Otherwise, people just not going to engage or participate because they didn't know the program even existed. So something to really think about when you're designing your websites, especially in your checkout, what people see before they hit the add to cart and after they hit the add to cart and finish the purchase. Go ahead, Brian.
I just want to add, like, when I'm hearing you talk about this, I'm realizing that it's a solution for me to encourage people to buy the drop ship things that I don't make much money on, but it still would be nice to sell them because everything is promotional, basically.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's a good idea.
Wonderful idea. I love that. Yeah. Thank you so much. You're giving me so many actionable ideas.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. In digital marketing, it's called upsell or downsell. Means the difference between upsell and downsell is upsell means they bought one item and they bought another one that's about the same price. So it's kind of upselling them. Downsells means they bought one item, they didn't take your offer, and then you offer something cheaper. Then you become like a downsell. So you can create that into your checkout process. If they add one item, you will say, oh, this item is best also buy with. Amazon does this a lot. It's like frequently bought together. The whole idea of frequently bought together is like a bundle offer, right? So they buy, people usually buy this together with the item you just add to the cart. So the whole idea is to increase your average order value on your e-commerce store. So people buy more from you instead of other companies. So it's definitely something to incorporate into your entire website. So the next example I'm going to share is Lego again, because Lego do so much of this really, really well. So Lego also have thing they call Lego Ideas, which is the community can vote on the product they want. And the whole program really transformed the consumer into creator, because the fan can submit the original design and also rally community to vote on their design. And if I believe the program last time I checked is if they reach 10,000 supporters of their idea, then someone from Lego will actually review the idea and see if they want to turn that idea into a real Lego product. So that's like a gamification in real life, because this is about community participations. It's also about community engagement, because people are voting on other people's idea. What kind of other crazy idea other people in the community is already creating using your product. So that's a lot of good idea that Lego have done extremely well with their marketing strategy. Next is some additional idea for creative campaign. I already mentioned a few earlier. One more idea you can also consider. This is especially relevant in Q4. A lot of the toys and game companies that we manage as a digital marketing company, we also done this for some of our clients, including our toy brand in the past, is a holiday countdown campaign. Pretty much is 10 days to Christmas, or 10 days to, if you don't celebrate Christmas, you can call it something else. It's the same idea, at least in the United States. All my kids buy like an advent calendar during the Christmas. So you can turn that into your own version. So every single day, you give your customer a mini surprise. So for example, if you do 10 days to countdown, the way we did it before is every single day, they either get a special discount, they get a special giveaway, or they get some kind of prize every single day during the 10-day countdown. So this is a really, really good way to really capitalize during the Q4 season. Because for the toys and game industry, 60 to 70% of our revenue as an industry happen in the last 3 months of the year. How do you capture this crazy volume of everyone is buying toys and games for their neighbor, for their kids, for their friends, for their neighbors' kids, or like just people just buying like crazy? So how can you kind of capture some of those holiday buying frenzy, especially for our industry, is to turn your campaign into like a holiday countdown using the same idea as an advent calendar, but you applied it as a digital marketing campaign. So every single day you can give them different coupon code, give them different prices, give them different incentive. So you can really turn your whole campaign into like a seasonal experience that people might be looking forward to every single year. This is a little bit more advanced to set up, but as long as you can think about the prices, then it's actually not that hard. You don't need a special software for this. You just need to come up with a rule and let them know how they can participate and what kind of prize are they they can get. So just thinking about the rule behind the campaign, that's a time consuming part. But once you have the rule, how people is going to participate, implementing this whole strategy is not too difficult. You just send them a daily email for 10 days. Like, oh, day one, this is 10 more days to go, 9 more days to go until Christmas, 8 more days to go until Christmas. And then you can also add scarcity and also urgency in the whole campaign, because people are running out of time. Do you bought the stuff for your kids yet for Christmas? Well, some people is last minute shopper. They forgot to buy it and they want to come up with some kind of interesting gift they can give it to their loved one. So, okay. So last but not least, as part of today's webinar, the most important thing you want to think about when you're doing digital marketing using the gamification process or concept is, how are you going to be measuring success? There's a lot of different KPI or key performance indicator that you can use for your digital marketing campaign. But obviously, you don't want to track every single thing. Otherwise, it will be very overwhelming. So you want to pick maybe the top 3 indicator that you want to track. For example, if you're doing mostly on emails, what is your email capture rate, for example? Or do you want to keep track based on your cost per lead? Or do you want to keep track of your campaign success by looking at the completion rate or share rate potentially? There's a lot of different KPI you can track. But again, my recommendation is don't track too many KPI. Pick 2 or 3 that really make sense for you and your business, and just keep track of it really, really closely during the entire marketing campaigns. So you know whether or not the campaign is on the right track, or do you need to pivot along the way. You cannot improve what you don't measure. So it's really, really important to first decide what you're going to measure, then measure it during your digital marketing campaign, then make improvement over time. Because like I say in the very beginning in today's webinar, digital marketing is an ongoing process. It's not a set and forget. So every single time you do it, you want to capture the lesson learned and do it better the next time that you do it again. So that is all part of the learning process to make improvement in your digital marketing effort. Last, I want to also talk about a few common mistakes to avoid. First is to not overcomplicate the mechanism. So that's why I use the Uno example. Keep the rule as simple and easy to understand as possible. If it's confusing, people won't participate at all because people just don't get it. Second is the second common mistake is ensure your incentive is meaningful. You don't want to give $1 discount. It's why am I even participating when I only get $1 off? It's not enough incentive for people to even want to participate. That's why having a joint giveaway of 10 different brands, each one participate, then your price could be $500 worth of product because you have 10 different brands participate. So you want to make sure the incentive is meaningful. The third common mistake is obviously you want to make the campaign fun, but you cannot just focusing on making it fun. You also want to make sure you align your gamification strategy with your business goal, because just having fun alone is not going to make you money. It's about having fun and making some additional money for you and your business. So make sure when you're designing the product, make it fun, and also make sure what is the incentive at the end. For example, one of the examples I shared earlier, you're doing a giveaway. Only maybe 1 people win the giveaway at the end of the campaign. But all the people that lost, you can give them a different incentive, like a coupon code or a discount, so they can still participate and they still feel like the winner by doing business with you and by participating. So think about that when you're designing your entire digital marketing campaign, to make sure it's not just fun, but also align the whole strategy with your business goal. The last common mistake to make is not tracking performance. Make sure you're always tracking performance. That's why I spent some time talking about the KPI or the key performance indicator. Make sure you keep track of some of those key numbers so you know what is the data. Again, the data will speak for itself. The data is really, really essential, because the campaign that you do this time, you can do the same campaign again, maybe in a couple months or next year. It depends on the type of campaign. But if you don't track your performance, you don't know how to improve it when you want to do the similar campaign again next year. You're not building on top of the previous experiences. So that's another common mistake to avoid. Tool and platform. I kind of shared a lot of the tool and platform earlier. There's so many out there, so I'm not going to name them because you can just Google them and they changes. There's a lot of different plugins. If you use Shopify for like spin the wheel, for quizzes, for VIP program, there's just tons and tons of software out there that you can use that's already incorporated or very easily integrated with your Shopify or WooCommerce or WordPress or whatever the software you use to host your website on. And also with email and social media, there's a lot of interactive tool and also different AI tool that you can also use to make it very simple to track. And as far as analytic platform, Google Analytic, you should, if you haven't installed it already, definitely install it on your website. You will see a lot of data with your website traffic with Google Analytic, and it's free. You just need to install a few lines of code into your website to start tracking. So those are all the different tools that you want to consider. Again, you can use AI to do the research for you as well. You can use ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or whatever the AI tool you use. Just explain the whole idea. Just talk to it. The way I like to use my AI is I like to use the voice to AI, so I don't need to type. I'm too lazy to type. So I just speak to it and say, this is a campaign I'm thinking about. This is my brand. This is the product I have. What is your suggestion for the software I should use or potentially use for my campaign? And the AI is going to do the research and let you know which one might be the best. So again, if you utilize the latest technologies, you can really take a lot of shortcut to make sure you have all the right tool and also all the right strategy to implement into you and your businesses. So action plan. At the end of today's webinar, there's 3 things that you can do this weekend. First, test one concept. Just test it small before you do like a whole 30-day campaign. Like what can you run that's like maybe a 2-day campaign? Just start out small. Maybe it could be like a tiny giveaway you do this weekend maybe. And then pick one channel. If you're new to this kind of digital marketing, don't do every single channel at the same time. You get too overwhelming when you're trying to do email, SMS, social media, ads, influencer marketing all at the same time. You get too overwhelming. Choose one channel that you are already active on. It could be social media, it could be email, whatever the channel you're already active on and you're already comfortable with, choose one channel and test. So pick, again, start out small, pick only one channel. And then once you test it, you can slowly align and scale. Now you test it with email. Okay, the email campaign went decent. Let me add social media to it. So next time I'm going to do social media and email together. Then you keep on going. Then, okay, the third time you do it, you do emails, social media, and then you also reach out to influencer. So the influencer also help you promote it. So now you have 3 layers. Again, I have a different webinar I did in the past called 5 Pillars of Digital Marketing for Toys and Game Brands. Again, the 5 pillars is very simple. It's influencer marketing should be one of your pillars as content marketing, pillar 1. Pillar 2 is organic social media. Pillar 3 is paid social media. Pillar 4 is email marketing. Pillar 5 is SMS marketing. If you can do all 5, then you have a super powerful digital marketing machine that you can build for you and your business. Again, start out small. You don't need to do all 5 at the same time. Beginning, if you're like kind of new to all this, you just pick one channel and start with one and then slowly scale off from there. So the worst thing you can do is not taking any action. If you don't take any action, then you couldn't learn. So the easiest to learn is just to start out small and pick one channel and just do it. So again, some of the key takeaway, the gamification really, really help with your engagement. That is the reason of like you even want to do gamification for you and your business. Second is you really increase your conversion rate and also increase customer loyalty. This is also a lot of different ways you can scale your campaigns across multiple channels, and also just pick one tactic, one channels, and just start out small. So thank you again for participating in today's webinar. Hopefully you're learning some new strategy and new business tactic that you can apply for your toys and game brands. For more information, you can always visit us at www.toy-launch.com for more resource, and you can follow us on social media. And for those of you that's watching the recording, feel free to also comment with your questions. Our team will also address your questions once the recording is out. And thank you for our listeners or people that's watching online or watching the recording. Feel free to just drop in more comment into our channels, and our team will answer any of the questions that you raise as well. So thank you so much for everyone participating in this month's webinar with Toy Launch, and we'll see you again next month. Thank you so much.